Well, let's hope it keeps recording. My GoPro has really been acting up. It's a Hero 7, and I guess Hero 7s and Hero 8s had manufacturing defects, but GoPro denied it until everyone's warranties were, expired. Pretty awesome, huh? Anyway, I did a whole series this morning on cold starting and all that good stuff with this carburetor kit. Looks like we're still going. And nothing happened. Looks like I'm still in gear. But oh no, we didn't have a fuel prime there. Oh, well, that's because we don't have a fuel pump anymore. K-choke has two positions. It's all the way out right now. Full choke gives me about 2,000 RPM. Let it warm up a little bit here. No hands. This guy's not connected anymore. Probably should let it warm up a little bit more, but I'm gonna go. See if I can make it home. And hopefully our GoPro continues to run. So as I talked about this morning in great depth, that wasn't recorded, thank you GoPro, this carburetor swap, I'm 100% satisfied with it. The bike certainly feels like it has quite a bit more mid-range and low-end. And even at highway speeds, I mean, that's some decent acceleration now, from 60 to 80. 80 is probably still the top speed. At least that's my top speed. I'd never go any faster than 80 miles an hour. That's just way too high on the RPM scale for me. My typical highway cruise is 65 miles an hour. I just don't see any reason to go any faster than that with this bike. But as reported this morning, it felt like I had power, more power, or at least more usable power all throughout the power band. Obviously, especially once it's warmed up, it's just smooth idle, smooth mid-range. Cruises down the highway at 70, 75 miles an hour. No surging. I almost feel like I'd use a little bit more fuel up top, but it feels pretty good. Not sure I'm going to change anything yet. I think I'm going to run it for a bit, check the spark plug colors, go from there. Talked to the guys at Hitchcocks, and they said the 120 main should be plenty for even like a DNA air filter and an exhaust. I've got a full exhaust on this stock air filter, so I'm going to go with the 120 main for now. See what happens. Guy's gonna run into the curb, man. What are you doing? Pay attention. Hope you're not fiddling with a baby in the back seat and you kill yourself and your baby fiddling with the baby in the back seat. So one of the things, well, not one, but one of many things that I've noticed is that even at higher speeds, above 55, in fifth gear, you can roll on the throttle, and instead of getting a big bogging noise, you know, it actually has engine sounds and you accelerate. Whereas before it made kind of a big bogging noise and the acceleration was minimal, and the cylinder head temperature down here would spike close to 400 degrees. You know, that didn't add up in my mind of my past experience of tuning things as being normal. Now when you roll on the throttle, you know, at this speed in fifth, you get engine noise and you accelerate, and the cylinder head temperature stays around 330 to 350. I have a little bit of popping on decel if I downshift. It's not bad though. The idle's a little low. I think I'm going to turn it up when I get home. It's, you know, right above 1,000. It should be probably 1250 or so. It's smooth though, even though it's only 1050 or 1100 right now. Car's greatest hits going here. Oh yeah. Okay, guy that can't color is turning good. So there's their roll-on power right there. That's in fourth gear, but I was only going just under 40 miles an hour. So it just it feels a lot better. You know, no more big bog, mostly just engine noises and accelerate like it should. Make sure the choke's all the way off. It is. Don't do it, Jeep. Okay, for me on this bike, the worst part of my commute here is coming up the dreaded toll road / freeway, where everyone wants to drive at 90 miles an hour. Oh, here we go, full throttle. Shifting at 6,000. At about 360 degrees on the cylinder head temp. I have the high threshold set at 360. So little H flashes down here. I need to change that. High is more like 385. Filled her up with gas this morning. Looking at the petcock that's included with the Hitchcock kit, it looks like the on position sandpipe is pretty tall. I don't know if I'll have to switch to reserve, like at half tank or what. I guess we'll find out. But it sticks pretty far up into the tank. So it's going to be slightly less than half tank. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay with all this wind. 70 is not the best speed on this bike for trying to YouTube. Although I got this Purple Panda mic, it does a pretty outstanding job. If you guys do this kind of thing. It does a really good job of blocking out some wind noise and only picking up the voice. So anyway, cruising along here, what, 69, 68 miles an hour, I can roll on the throttle and I get engine noises and acceleration instead of a big bob. Temperature jumped to 378. Should hit 380, there you go. There's always a little lag. Some of these hills on this freeway, I almost struggled to maintain speed going up in 5th gear. This one not so much, but when you're northbound, the hills are a little steeper. So going home here, I'll be going downhill most of the way, so not too bad. But a couple of the hills, like this one coming up here, going the opposite direction, I don't know that I could maintain 70. I would start losing speed with the fuel injection and just getting the loud bogging noise and climbing cylinder head temperatures. This morning with the carburetor, I actually accelerated up that just as a test. No problem at all. Cylinder head temperature never exceeded 385. So that's a pretty dramatic improvement. And as you can hear, this thing just cruises right along, purring like a kitten at 70. I'm sure it'll do 75 just as well. I just don't like going that fast with it. I feel like 5200 is my max continuous RPM. That's a personal thing. Doesn't mean the engine can't do it. I just don't want to make the engine do it. This Hagon This Hagon rear shock. Man, struggle with that. I could blame a long day at work, but I'm not going to. Anyway, I have the dampening set in the middle. It has 5 turns, I believe, from max to minimum. And I set it at 2.5, and it feels pretty good. This morning, when it was cooler, it might have felt a little harsh. So I was thinking about reducing the amount of damping a little. But maybe I'll just leave it and keep riding, and you know, try to get a better idea of how it works. The Racetech emulators are not in the front forks yet, and it almost feels like the rear shock, you know, is causing the front end to have to work a little harder because it lifted the rear end just a touch. Although we did set the sag on this shock, I didn't bother setting the sag on the stock shock. I just set it where it felt right as far as my weight on the bike. This one we set the sag at about 20, I think 28% with me on the bike, and it feels pretty good. But I think it actually sits higher in the rear than it did before. So I need to get the Racetech emulators in the front, drill out the valves, the stock valves, and put in. I think I'm going to start with 15 weight oil. That's what Racetech recommends, so we'll go there. Got to do that this weekend. I wanted to get some fork tube extensions so I could drop the forks a ½ inch or an inch, but I'm struggling to find anyone who will import them into the US that fit the Himalayan. They're in the UK, but no one there is exporting them at this time. So if you're in the UK and you want to buy a set and send them to me, leave a comment down below. Somebody down there off-roading? That's awesome. Let's do it. Hopefully I'm still recording. As I said earlier, the GoPro's been acting up something fierce. Did some research today and found out the 7s and the 8s had issues. They overheat, they stop recording. They'll record audio and the video will stop. The device will freeze. And what you can do is take the battery out to shut it off, put the battery back in, start over. I downloaded the fix. It's literally called the fix from GoPro's website and applied it. And I took out the SD card and formatted it with NTFS first, and then formatted it back with exFAT and put it in, and then I let it run at work recording what was going on in the office for about 20 minutes, and it continued to run and it didn't get as hot. So hopefully that fixed it. I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I get home, and then I'll figure out if I've been talking to myself all this time. Purple people eater. So a lot of interesting things coming out maybe this year, I hope. Kawasaki's claiming they're going to release 7 new motorcycles. I think they said 7. Although I think 2 of them are electric bikes, little balance bikes. So maybe we're getting 5. But it does say new motorcycles, so what are we getting? Will they finally be replacing the KLR 650? Will there be a Versus 400? Will there be a KLX 450? Street legal version. Also, Suzuki developing a parallel twin, and looking at the spy shots, the exhaust pipes look huge. So I'm thinking that's a pretty decent sized parallel twin. 700 cc's or bigger. Be nice if it's a 270 crank, so we get the parallel twin with the V-twin torque curve. It's the only way to go with a parallel twin. There's just something about a V-twin power delivery that's darn near perfect. They seem to always have the right amount of torque for every situation, the right amount of engine braking, the right amount of everything. They obviously just don't rev sky high and make a ton of horsepower, although that's changed a little in the last 10-15 years. I mean, even Harley's got a V-twin now making 140 plus horsepower with 120 foot-pounds of torque. That's more torque than your average small car. So what I think would really be cool is if someone would come out, and of course everybody's going to yell, you know, KLR 650. No, not a KLR 650. If one of the manufacturers would come out with a 500cc 4-stroke basic bike, a lot like this one, but with a little bit longer travel suspension, upside down forks, both front and back fully adjustable, and a 5-gallon gas tank. You know, and let's make a 500cc adventure bike that's a basic bike without all the gizmos and gadgets. And I have an Africa Twin with a lot of gizmos and gadgets, you know, and after I set it up the way I like it, I never change it. So what's with all the options? I don't know. I guess some people dig that stuff. Little tech heads. I'm more of a machine head. There's also, regarding these Bartubeless rims, there's some concern that they are the Excel Asia rims and they're not strong enough. You know, I did not really chat, but messaged people in forums and various social media groups that have had them for a little while, and no one has reported an issue with them. And I've searched as many search engines as I could looking for Excel Asia rim failure. Nothing. So even if they are the lower end of the spectrum as far as aluminum wheels go, they don't seem to be failing. And if they do, then I'll address that when that happens. I'll buy a better XL wheel, right? That's how it works. I mainly wanted rims that were tubeless, and I wanted rims that had the safety hump, the little bead holder in place, so that if you did have a flat, you had half a fighting chance to pull to the side of the road and not just have your rim peel off, or your tire peel right off the rim, which seems to happen with some Himalayan steel wheels. There's plenty of pictures and videos of that, that's for sure. And it's not just Royal Enfield. I mean, even the old Honda Africa Twin that had tubed tires, the front rim doesn't have that bead, and there's been a couple of guys eat it pretty hard, you know, at higher